Hello and welcome to Nora's Dog Training Company. We're here today with Fred and Hank, and what we're going to be demonstrating for you today on video is Hank's ability to understand and respond to his obedience commands, the corrections and motivations we give the dogs while we're working with them, and the training equipment that we're using. Fred's using a regular 6-foot web training leash, and he'll keep most of that leash folded neatly in his right hand, which leaves the left hand free to give a correction. The correction, if needed, is just a tug and release on the training collar, which is the second piece of equipment that we're using. You're going to want to keep that collar high up behind Hank's ears. That will give you the most control over him. You'll notice that Hank is seated nicely on Fred's left, which is where all of our obedience training is done. The first command that we will demonstrate for you is heeling. Heeling is proper walking on the leash, and the command is Hank heel. You'll notice that he's been trained to walk very nicely on your left at your pace, so there should be no lagging behind or pulling forward, and incorporated into the heel exercise is an automatic sit. So anytime you stop moving your feet, Hank should be seated nicely on your left waiting for his next command. Now, in the event that you stopped walking and Hank does not sit, you're going to want to say no and give him a tug and release on the training collar as a reminder. The next command we will demonstrate is the stay command. You're going to use the open flat of your left palm and the one-word firm command to stay. Now, when you first start practicing this command, we recommend that you stand right in front of Hank and make your sit stays relatively short, but build up his ability to stay for longer periods of time and at greater distances. When Fred returns back to Hank, he's going to walk all the way around him, and Hank should remain seated until he receives praise or another command. Very good job. We'll run through the heel, the sit, and the stay again for you. This was a great mental workout for Hank, so if there's a time of day where he's especially excitable, this is when you're going to want to put on his training equipment and run through the commands for about 15 minutes. This time, instead of returning back, Fred will demonstrate the recall or the come on command. The command is Hank, come, and he's been trained to come in and sit nicely right in front of you. And then Fred will have him return back to the heel position. Very good job. It's important to praise him, keep him motivated and interested in the training. This should be fun for him. Fred's going to call him in again. And he comes in and sits nicely in front. Very good job. And then he will return back to heel position, which is your left side. Very good job. The next command that we will demonstrate is down from a heel position. Whenever you want Hank to lie down, you always want to have him seated first. Give Fred a minute to set up for that. Okay, when you give the down command, you're going to use the open flat of your left palm straight down towards the ground and the one-word firm command to down. Now, in the event he did not go down the first time, you're going to want to say no and repeat the command. If need be, you can use your collar as a correction, tug in the direction that you want the dog's body to go in. When you first start working with him, you can make his down stays relatively short, but then build up his ability to stay in this position for longer periods of time. This is a great mental workout for him. It helps develop his self-control. When Fred returns back, Hank should remain lying down until Fred gets back and gives him praise or another command. Very nicely done. And Fred will show you down from a heel position again. It's important that you incorporate all of these new commands into your daily life. But we also recommend that you set aside some time each day to practice with Hank. These will keep that will keep the commands fresh and have Hank listening to you better. This time Fred will call him in. The command is Hank, come. And he comes in, sits nicely right in front, and then back to heel position. Very good job. The last command that I'm going to give them a minute to set up for is down from a distance. Fred is going to leave Hank in a sit stay. And this time he will use his right hand to give the command, and he will give him the down command from the end of the training leash. Very good job. Perfectly done. These are all the formal obedience commands that Hank has learned while he's been at school with us. He's been such a pleasure to have, and he's come such a long way since he first got here. We ask that you keep us posted on how he's doing once he's back home with you, and we ask that you call to schedule a follow-up lesson if needed. Thank you so much for choosing Nora's Dog Training Company as your personal dog trainer.